What is wrong with you? Without it going off. Well, don't point it at me or Cole. Yeah, you don't know how to use that shit. Yet, you have a loaded gun with a fucking hammer cocked on the table, and you don't know how to chamber
it. Fire it. You just keep going.
Jesus. This is what I have to deal with. This is where I'm at.
No, come on. It's good. It's good. It's got a double safety.
Wait. But you don't even know if it's good.
No,
you don't even know how it works.
Nah, it's good. I fired it a lot.
All right. Well, let's do an intro like we did before, and then we'll get into it.
All right.
Well, you didn't like that?
No, fuck no. That's
Why?
the worst part of the show. Doing like cookie cutter stuff.
Well, but last time
don't tell me. Surprise me.
Last time you go, hey, our start is weird. We have to start. And then I used to go, hey guys, welcome back, breakdowns and bets, blah, blah, blah. And then you go, no, let's not do that anymore. Let's just talk. So then we started just talking, and then you're like, well, this is weird. We don't even know when we're starting or not.
No.
So now I'm like, all right, well, let's go back to an intro.
No, that's not true. What I'm saying, I just talked to Cole about this. You're like, okay, let's pull up some news articles. And it's so cookie cutter and like forced. I don't like
news
that.
articles? I just want to see what are we talking about these days?
What's going on in the world? Anderson Silva was late on his mortgage payment.
People like to hear about the stuff.
Yeah, let's bring it natural. What I'm saying is like, let's find a news article.
No, I'm saying look at stuff so you have an idea as to what you want to talk about. You don't have to like cookie cutter. What? Having an idea?
Just don't tell me. If you're going to do that, don't tell me.
I didn't want to do it. I wanted to see what you want to talk about.
Not that.
Well, what? What are we talking about?
How about the fights from the last week?
Okay, well, let's
talk
about
anything else. Anything in art.
All right, how about this, you guys? Brandon, lead, go.
You tried to roast my outfit last week. Look at you.
Yeah, look at me.
What is this?
This is exactly what
you roasted a perfectly normal outfit last week, and now look at you.
Did I roast you last week?
You tried. He tried to roast me last week.
What'd you even wear?
It's something normal. It was a t-shirt and pants.
This is a tracksuit.
Look at you. And what is the hat? I actually like the hat.
The hat's a nice hat.
The hat's a nice hat. It's a trucker hat. It's a nice hat.
It's a trucker hat. It fits well. And this is a freaking tracksuit.
You know what? It's funny is because I have this exact... I just went through my house. I cleared everything out, threw everything away. I have this exact tracksuit, but it was yours.
Did I give it to you?
You gave it to me. It was the exact same thing.
Was it too small or what?
I don't know. I think 95% of my clothes are all of your clothes handed down. It wasn't until I became a millionaire that I got my own clothes.
All right, Brandon, so what are we doing?
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Well, let's go live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. I don't know. Well, we're here.
We've got loaded guns.
We got loaded guns.
Tracksuits.
For my haters.
You clearly haven't brushed your hair in a week.
Is it because I got the alfalfa in the back?
Yeah. You look like Lennox. You look like my 10-year-old.
I've been in the lab. Yeah. I've been in the lab. That's how you know I've been in the lab.
This is you out of the lab on Adderall with drinking.
Nope, no Adderall, no drinking. I'm on a new thing.
You're a changed man.
I'm a changed man.
You bought a house and now you're straight and narrow.
we did so well last week. Someone goes, "Are you gonna buy I can't wait to see your new watch after this week." And I said, "I'm a homeowner now. Now it's gonna be a new garage door."
Yeah, I like that.
No more watches, new garage door.
Well, we talked about this. You were buying watches. Well, I was buying new lawns from you.
It's the circle of life.
It's like 10 grand for a lawn, 10 grand for a watch.
It's the same.
It's the same.
You know what's funny is I'm actually getting my lawn done 2 days.
Nice. What are you doing with it?
I'm getting a basketball court, a putting green, and then turf everything else.
All right. I like it.
So for my haters, if you guys want to come play basketball, come see me one-on-one. I'm 5'7", but I'm fast.
You're going to ball them up? You're not going to ball it. I can't ball your hand up.
I used to be so good at basketball, and now I try to shoot. Come on.
You have to get like a little plastic basketball, fit it in your little.
I got to shoot left-handed.
Good hand.
All right. Well, anyways, last week was some fights.
There were fights.
I didn't watch last week.
Did you bet on Bryce Logan?
No, I stayed away from most of that card.
I didn't. I know some of the guys in the Discord bet on Bryce, who I want to say shocked the world, but he wasn't a huge dog. But it
was in Ireland, though.
Yeah, in Ireland against Quealy, and he looked good. Yeah, you did well in your. But last week was even on your picks. Usually we have a lot of picks. I think you had like 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah, and hit 3 out of 4 all underdogs are good ones.
It was good. There was not I was like retarded last week. I think I tried to look too deep into stuff like, oh, if this or that or this or that, and I got away from the betting Bible, and I don't know, maybe I didn't.
What happened in the Victor Martinez fight?
Oh, he just got kneed in the face.
Did he shoot in and got kneed?
No, Levitt shot in. They clinched. They were up against the fence, and Levitt just grabbed a tie clinch and kneed him, and then just kneed him again. Like I don't think that would happen twice in 100 tries, but when you're expecting like grappling so much, and then somebody strikes, or you're expecting a striker, and then they wrestle, like it just throws your game off. I think it's just a weird.
What happened in the main event? Brendan Allen, did Muniz just get tired? Couldn't submit him?
Okay, so here's a weird thing. Muniz, first of all, I thought Muniz won the striking battle and all of the striking, not all of the striking exchanges. I think Brendan Allen was definitely had more volume, but if you took away any of the grappling and just scored the striking of it, I would give that to Muniz.
How often were they striking? Like the whole round?
I would say, gosh, I think it ended in the third round. He actually choked him out. He got tired. But I would say the first round, I think, was all striking. It did not go to the ground at all.
Wow.
Second round was first three and a half minutes striking. And then the third round, Allen went out and just wrestled right off the bat.
He wrestled offensively.
Yes, and he wrestled in the second round as well and took Muniz down. And then third round, took him down easily. What I think Muniz really screwed up, first of all, his hands, like, I don't know what the strike count was, but the strikes that were landing looked like Muniz's strikes just hit heavier. They just looked good.
He's got the big steroid chest.
Yes,
of course,
big steroid chest, long arms. I just thought his strikes were better. I thought he looked better striking.
Surprising.
And not by like levels and worlds and stuff, but I was like, oh, these, like, I thought his punches were better and I thought they landed better. Now, the thing where I think Muniz really screwed up, he shot once in the first round, but almost like a shitty level change that was not like a good
He didn't mean it.
He didn't mean it. And then he didn't even try to really do any, like, I think he was doing so well striking, or felt like he was doing well striking. He didn't shoot. And then when they started grappling, it was about, I don't know, this is off the top of my head, three and a half minutes into the second round, Brendan took him down, and by that point, he was done. He was too tired. I think Muniz should have right off the bat just
gone for it. He's got to. You told me this a long time ago. Stop falling in love with your striking. Do what got you to the dance, and do it the best.
You have to know what you're good at.
Yes.
And it's almost who was it? Kevin Lee knocked out Gillespie. Gillespie was like, "Oh, I'm a striker now," and he looked good until he died.
The most heartbreaking one of that for me was Josh Koscheck.
Yes.
Koscheck was such a good wrestler, and then decided, I'm knocking people out.
You see it all the time. And then Muniz, who's a guy, and the other thing too is, I always say this to people when they take a fight short notice, or if they don't have great cardio, don't try to conserve. Because by the time you have conserved to when you want to do something, you're already too tired to do it anyway. So you may as well go out full send as it is and do what you know is good. Muniz was like conserving and was waiting. And then by the time he wanted to do the stuff he wanted to do, he was already spent. That said, I think Brendan Allen has finally taken his head out of his ass on the dumb. Like we always say, like Brendan Allen is so good. He just makes really bad fight IQ
even when he
decisions.
Wins, pulling guard into leg locks.
Bad stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like the years with Greg Jones over at Killcliff, who, if you guys don't know who freaking Jones is, 3-time D1 national champ out of West Virginia. The guy's phenomenal. Like, he is so freaking good. Anyway, I feel like the years are finally catching up to him. And he looked, wrestling-wise, really, really good. Really technical. Not like sloppy, scrappy, I'm clawing my way through this.
Like a Ronnie Yaya.
Just clean, beautiful wrestling. So
dog on a bone, as Big Bird always says.
Yeah, Brendan looked good, man. He looked solid. Again, his striking, actually, maybe it was a southpaw or just Muniz just hits hard and has a little bit longer arms. But I thought Brendan Allen looked phenomenal. And then we don't know what happened with the main event. They say medical stuff. Why can't we just have IVs back? Everybody's IVing again anyway.
Yeah.
Just get the IVs back. And then, I mean, think of all of the fights that are being canceled because of quote-unquote medical issues. Why was the Jose Johnson fight called off? Do we know?
Same thing, medical issues.
So we had Haley Cowan, Jose Johnson. Cowan's was actually legit, not weight cutting. That was I can't divulge a lot of information
She's
about
pregnant?
it. No, not
She's
pregnant.
in wedlock now, so she can get pregnant.
She can. It's allowed. Nomine Padre tu Filii, o Spiritu Cowen. Amen. No, but she had a major medical issue, which is actually really scary, the details of it. And then the main event, of course. But going back to Cowan's medical issues, still, and I don't mean this.
Let's get a full medical history on her.
Let's do medicals on
everything that she's ever had.
No, but just in general, not to be, I don't know if this would be considered misogynistic or whatnot or not, but I'm not being that way.
Are you about to talk about why Haley Cowan would have got paid less in the workplace than Jose Johnson?
Well, of course. I mean, it's
30%.
It's 80% to the dollar, 80 cents to the dollar. No, but just women to me fighting is just such a weird thing in the sense of their bodies are so much different than men's, and they have to go through so much more than what men have to go through to fight, that it's just crazy to me that women fight. Not that they're allowed to fight, let women fight, but that women want to fight, and then all of the extra hurdles that they have to go over to fight, and just, I mean, it's crazy to me. The stuff that women have to go through to fight is 5 times more than what men have to go through.
Don't give them the easy route.
And man, it is just,
I get hungry.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's just crazy that women want to fight, and that just medically, they just have so many other issues to worry about than just fighting.
It really shouldn't be in their genes. Like, not, again, to not be misogynistic, but it's just like not in their genes. Like, men are hunter gatherers, warriors, women take care of the household. So to see someone do that, especially someone like Haley, who's like from a really good family, gymnastics, D1 scholarship, like all American, like just like good, like Christian girl, all this stuff. And that she wants to go punch people in the face. It's a bizarre thought.
It's
because this sport sucks. Like, if I had to do it over, I would go nowhere near this thing.
It's a horrible sport. You guys, get out now. Abort, go, get away.
It's not fun like people pretend that it is.
It's 10 years of scraping by, poor, having surgeries, getting beat up, living a horrible life to hopefully make it.
I lost use of my hand from a few years.
And you lost training for a couple of years because they thought you went through a litany of medical testing. At one point, you were getting IVs every week.
Yeah, I was
getting hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
In hopes to cure something.
They were giving me intravenous IV, like immunoglobulin or something, thinking that it was an
autoimmune disease.
An autoimmune disease. So I'm sitting in this chair getting plasma pumped into my arm for 4 hours every 2 weeks for them to be like, oh, no, that didn't work.
Yeah, sorry.
You were just getting a full belly of plasma for no reason. And here's your bill.
That was the third neurologist you went to that gave you the third diagnosis before somebody was finally like, oh, you got dropped on your head? And that's when it started. Oh, you fucked up a nerve, idiot.
You're done.
We're good.
Good luck with it.
Yeah, so. All right, man. Well, I think that's enough BS for a while. Hey, BS.
I already came up with that title, all right?
I know. Let's get in this card. It's a main event, Ciryl Gane.
We're actually not going to talk on this one. We're going to just text each other what we think.
I like it.
Throughout the show.
I like it. Ciryl Gane, Jon Jones. There are now 14 fights back on the card. We were supposed to be there for this fight to corner Camuela, and then you had tickets.
I still have tickets. If anybody wants to buy my tickets, please DM me.
DM him, what, Instagram, Twitter, doesn't matter?
Anything. Instagram, Twitter, you guys could send a postcard to my house. The address is, no, I'm just kidding.
Smoke signal, carrier pigeon, whatever. Get it over. Well, let's get into this card. There's a lot of fights on this card, and it starts with...
We're going to be able to breeze through these, though. Some of them we're
going to be able to breeze through.
Yeah.
This one, though, actually, I only watched a little bit of tape on this because it just popped up this morning, and this is actually the replacement for Camuela Kirk. Camuela was supposed to fight Estabon Ribovics, who is out of Argentina, 11-0. Are you still moving to Argentina?
No, screw that. They suck.
You're out? Okay. Yeah. You bought a house here. And he is fighting the Loik Radzhabov. Loik. L-O-I-K. I feel like they're trying to say Loki, but they screwed up the spelling on it.
All right, let's make this one really quick because you didn't tape this one, and clearly you don't know who Loik is. He's a PFL vet.
Wait, you don't know who Loik is? Everyone knows Loik.
Well, he's a PFL vet. He's been like a mainstay in the PFL.
I know.
Beat Chris Wade. The guy can wrestle his ass off. He's at Killcliff. I think this is the biggest gift on the card for what the price is. I mean, you were game planning against Estabon, obviously, and we had talked about him being similar to that Argentinian kid a few weeks ago.
Same person.
Person.
Nah, this guy's better.
skill for skill,
Estabon is better all over the place.
Yeah.
And he's actually fought way better competition.
Yeah, but he's not the level that his record indicates, I think. He gets taken down super, super easily. He kind of just is on his back fishing for Kimura
to sweep.
Yep. I don't think that's happening against Mr. Tajikistan. It's not going to happen. Loik's beat Chris Wade. He's gone to decisions with
Natan Schulte.
He's good. He's legit. He's good. He was already training for a fight because he was going to be on the contender. Ultimate Fighter.
Oh, okay. Was he one of the ones that got the boot for Conor?
Well, he probably got the boot so he could take this fight.
Okay.
I think this is the biggest gift on the card for what the odds are. The other guy's got good hands and good power, but he's fighting nobodies, where this guy's fighting highest level in PFL, which, it's not the UFC, but it's Chris Wade's tough. Those guys are tough. The Russians are tough, and he's winning, and he's at a good gym. Man, I don't think the Estabon can stop a takedown. And what really makes me the most upset is KK Kamola was a plus 250. I would have been so rich. On this. And instead, I'm playing minus 230 on the other side for Loik. Damn it. So, Loik it is.
Yeah. I think you're right. The only thing where and not even say that I disagree, the only thing, just something to think about is the only thing I don't like about Loik is he's fine. He's fine. Striker does all of this stuff well. He doesn't have that sense of urgency. I like a sense of urgency.
Why? He's going to have the dude on his back.
Well, no, I just mean in general where, again, I don't say you go full Esteban Ribovich, but I like to see when people attempt the win as opposed to just kind of going through the motions. I think that's actually going to help him here because I think as long as he can withstand the big round one flurry from Ribovich, I think he's good.
Because that's what happened to the other guy in his contender series fight is he wanted to go toe-to-toe with Ribovich, and then he got KO'd.
Exactly.
That was one of the scariest starts I've ever seen, though, I will be honest.
And this is a pay-per-view card. It's a big card. Ribovich going out there, I mean, if you want to get just stupid, you go Ribovich round one,
Lost
or
cause.
no better, exactly, But I think that's I think Loik here is a solid go.
I can't believe he's as low as he is for a guy that's been at that high level for that much time and fighting in the PFL finals and these kind of things. Like that's a lot of pressure.
It's kind of silly, yeah.
Well, no, that's a lot of pressure, just like a pay-per-view. Whereas this kid's going to be fighting that stage for the first time ever.
Yep. I thought you meant odds-wise. I thought you were saying you thought that he'd be lower considering, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I do. I think Loik should have been wider. All right, next up.
All right, for Farid, Basharat, and Damon Black. All right, first of all, how do you say this? Damon, okay.
Damon.
I was thinking Damon, and then I was like, oh, is that just like...
It's Dela.
Is that just Damon, but with a
No, it's
comma?
It's Dela Blackshear.
Dela Blackshear. All right, tell us. Give me the goods on this.
I think Damon Blackshear is actually pretty good. I think he's very talented, but I don't think he wins this matchup. And, if you want to look at a value play, I'm like, man, this could be a good value play. He's got good takedowns. He's got really good grappling. He's not incompetent on the feet. Like, he is a man with a pulse, and he's at plus 350, whatever it is.
I like him, and I think we picked him over Yusuf Zalal to win, and he ended up getting the draw. But I'm with you. He's got a good skill set.
So the value here is good. I think the line is way, way, way too wide for where it should be. But then looking at it, I don't see a way that he does actually win and put it together because, they were making comments about the cardio in the fight with Zalal. And then literally the second DC said that, his cardio fell off a cliff and he started getting his ass beat. Now, that was a short notice fight, so we will give him that. But on the other token, he was getting ready for a fight. So I think that is null. The Basharats have insane cardio. They push that pace the entire time. I actually like Farid's skill set better than Javid's skill set.
Why?
I like his stand-up a lot more. It looks a lot more educated, and he stays a lot busier than Javid.
See, it's funny because I like the other Basharat, Javid, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, Javid.
Because I feel like he has a little bit more power, and I feel like he'll use his... To me, he seems a little bit more powerful and has a little bit more power in his punches and a little bit more power in his grappling. So
I would agree with you. This kid is just
more volume and
slick.
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
So I for some reason I love that Euro style of like kickboxing, that like push and pull and just quick and calf kicks. I think Blackshear would be a good value play because I think this should be closer than what the odds suggest, but I think Farid has him covered everywhere. These kids have really good takedowns, really good jiu-jitsu. I think he's faster, better cardio on the feet, good jab, good low kick. I mean, I like Farid here to win, but I don't hate a value play on Blackshear, but I can't bring myself to do it because I just don't see how he does it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on this because, like we said, Blackshear is good. He actually has somewhat educated striking. It's his technique that's a little loose and a little sloppy, which is going to be hard to handle with Basharat, who's just such a sniper.
This is
so
almost
clean.
the Mendoza fight from his brother.
Yes. He's very clean. He moves laterally. He's going to kind of pick him apart in terms of the feet stuff. Now, the thing is Blackshear's wrestling's not bad, but it's not great, and that's the thing. And he's a little bit too comfortable with his jiu-jitsu, and we saw that with the Yusuf fight, where they're just scrambling. Like, those two were, like, on each other's back, slid off, jumped to something else. Whereas I think Basharat on the ground, he's going to get back up to his feet and create space, or if he's on top, he's going to stall out and not jump for submissions, which will give him the slide and the wiggle factor that we saw Blackshear with Yusuf. I think, man, I hope, not say I hope, because I think Basharat wins this. I hope Damone gets another shot after this because I really do like him. I think he's solid, and I think he can grow into a career in the UFC. I don't know that he's quite there yet, but I think given a little bit of time, he can. He's a lot better than a lot of people on the roster. You know, you give him a short notice fight against Alal, and then this fight here, just stylistically, it's going to be a tricky one.
This matchup pissed me off the same way that the last with Javid's fight, because I liked Mateusz Mendoza, and I'm like, this kid's better than most guys. Why are we killing off a prospect? Or but yeah, I think the Basharats are a good play here.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have Jessica Penne and Tabatha Ricci. So why don't you tell us about that, since you know both of these ladies very well?
Yeah, this is going to be a Penne easy win. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, times are a little different from last time. This fight was announced in October.
Oh yeah, what happened with that? What?
Jessica Penne got sick cutting weight, so morning of, and then they pulled the fight. So that was October 1st. I remember the day well. And then now we have this matchup here again, March 4th. So 5 months difference. I can't speak a lot on Tabatha's preparation for this fight. I don't really know her. Don't talk to her much anymore. But I will say, I think, thinking about this, I think this is a good matchup for her. I think, they're giving a super athlete. She really is a super athlete. I don't take that.
She is.
She's a super athlete. That's not a good striker. He's got a lot of holes in her striking. But Jessica Penne, is she the one to exploit that? She pretty much has a lazy jab that gets her in close enough range to do grappling. Then it's going to be grapple for grapple. And, honestly, I'm going to take the super athlete over the 40-year-old woman who had such a long, layoff. People are going to look at the Lupi Godinez fight and say, well, she took her back. She was doing these things. Lupi Godinez, for some reason, decided to do judo. She was doing hip tosses. And every time she'd go for a hip toss, Penne would just put her hook in, and now she's on the back. One thing, at least when I was training with Tabatha, I was like, hey, watch this fight. Look what she's doing. I know you do judo. Don't do judo here. Wrestle.
And she doesn't judo much in her fights anyway.
Not in real
She grabs,
fights, yeah.
She catches kicks and inside trips the single leg.
Yep, and shoots blast doubles.
Yep.
She actually, it's weird because Lupi is the wrestler and she was doing judo, and Tabatha is the judo girl who wrestles. I think over the course of 15 minutes, her cardio is insane. She's strong as can be.
And she hits hard. Her striking is not amazing, but she throws with vicious intent to where you have to respect it. And if you get sloppy, it's going to catch you.
She's legitimately very strong. Now, I don't think her wrestling is the best, but you hit the nail on the head. She catches kicks. She makes the wrestling a lot easier for herself than it would be if she didn't catch kicks.
Yeah.
She's taking the easiest way. She's very heavy on top. I had troubles with her, and I'm a grown man. I can only imagine Penne, even though she's a black belt, right? I think I'm black belt level. I'm taking Tabatha, the super athlete, over Jessica Penne.
Yeah, I think this comes down to top position. And I think Tabatha can control the top position, and Penne doesn't have a say in it. I don't think Penny's going to get a takedown. I mean, like realistically, for Penne to get top position, she would either have to take the back somehow and then some scramble happens where she's on top, or she's... What is she going to Kimura sweep her from the bottom?
She could.
I mean,
Tammy Musumeci was tearing her up.
I mean, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? And then striking wise, Penne has that long jab that's a little loopy, and she kind of drops it. versus Tabatha's overhand and then into a clinch.
Tabatha's going to pay the piper eventually.
Yeah. But it's not against
It's not
Penne.
here.
No.
That Velismus matchup would have been really tough. Not this one.
Yep. So, all right. I think we're done with that. All right. Next up, we have Mana Martinez and Cameron Saaiman. I like Cameron Saaiman. That kid is...
He's a nice kid or what?
Yeah, he's a very nice young lad. I think, is he
South
20,
African?
21?
Yeah, South African.
South African lad. So we're good. No, so Saaiman, we saw him in his, was it UFC debut against that grappler kid? What was his name?
Kozlo,
yeah. And we saw him on the Contender against Josh Wang Kim.
Yeah.
And man, I thought, it's funny, I'm listening to the commentators on the Josh Kim fight, just like blowing Kim every which way. And I love the Kims. You know what I mean? Those guys are awesome.
They train with us. You know
them.
They
train with us. We know them. And I was, when I saw that, I probably bet money on Kim. You know, I was like, dude, Kim's phenomenal. He is good everywhere. And Saaiman just stayed calm. The kicks were all over the place from Kim. And it was really but Saaiman never like panicked. And they were like, oh, Saaiman, he's got this, or the kicks are giving him a problem. I don't know if they ever were. I mean, now if that continued to happen, yes, but he adjusted well. He adjusted well with that distance and the range. And what he did is, in round one, he was just trying to like march in and punch. Kim is, kicking and wasn't working for him. Then after that, he starts touching with his jab. He starts pawing with stuff. He starts throwing stuff. And then he starts following in and really started landing. He started pressuring and closing the distance. His jiu-jitsu is good. I think when he gets further up the ranks, his defensive wrestling is going to be an issue for him because it's not great. And then he stays on the bottom a little bit too long to mess with jiu-jitsu before he will start to get back up, which again is not great, but I don't think that's going to matter here. He will eventually get back up. He does the right stuff, but he kind of spends too much time messing with jiu-jitsu before he gets up. And then Mana Martinez, I couldn't really find where he's training at because Krause now...
I think he's back in Houston with the boys.
Okay, so I kind of figured as much. In his last fight, he actually looked better. He was slightly less Parkinson's hands.
Yeah, against a good opponent.
And Brandon Davis, people give him a lot of credit. It's so weird, man. Brandon Davis is one of those guys, I bet you in the gym, is a world beater because he is actually really good.
He's got lots of skills.
And he just can't quite put it together. We know a couple of those guys, and you see him all the time, but he is good. And Mana was less Parkinson's-y, but he was just switching stances, and it didn't really seem like there was a rhyme or reason to him switching stances. He just...
Front kicks.
But he doesn't really effectively do anything. Like I feel like he switches stances in hopes that it elicits a response from his opponent, and then if he doesn't get it, he doesn't really know what to do, and so he just kind of goes back. But I don't feel like he's overly effective with that at all. And he's low volume. He doesn't really press and know when to go and know what to do. He's a little loopy. His wrestling is kind of non-existent, and his jiu-jitsu is not bad. It's wiggly, but it's not amazing. And so really it comes down to, is he going to knock Saaiman out, or is he going to out-volume Saaiman? And I don't know that either of those things are going to happen. I really like Saaiman here. I really like his skill set. I think he has good head movement. I think he has a good high guard. I think he finds his way into the positions well. And I think if they scramble or if he rocks Mana, I think he's going to jump on a submission really fast. I really like Saaiman here.
Really like him.
I really like him here.
I'm on the opposite. And last week you told me I was crazy for B. Allen and for O'Day. And I didn't watch the fight. I heard it was a close fight with O'Day, but...
Oh, all right, we got to actually go back to that. Charles Johnson is known for cardio. Man, after round one...
Sinus infection.
Is that what it was?
Some kind of infection. Yeah.
He could not move. I mean, I'm not kidding. It was like comedy. These guys are just like standing there, slow motion, which I expect from O'Day and Charles Johnson. I'm like, and it was I think it was a split decision.
Yeah.
And Johnson looked dead, and that shocked the hell out of me. Hey, look, man, 100% wrong about B. Allen and Muniz.
If you had that one over again, all things equal?
That one, I'm like, man, the Johnson-O'Day one, I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like,
it's like Bruno Silva when he fought GM3.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So anyway,
okay.
Go on.
What fight are we talking about?
Mana and Saaiman.
Mana and Saaiman. Yeah, I was sitting, it's funny, I was sitting at that event watching that fight live with C-Rod in Vegas. He invited me out. We were watching Kozlov versus Saaiman. I was so nervous about that fight. I had almost everything on that fight, and Rosas, who now C-Rod's
fighting.
And it's weird because, those are the two young guns of the UFC, Saaiman and Rosas. And now both of them have really tough fights in front of them, right? Saaiman has Mana, who I think is the toughest fight he's ever had to this point. And then Rosas has C-Rod, when we know how good C-Rod is. Those are really tough fights for two guys.
Now, you think Mana is tougher than Joshua and Kim?
Yeah.
Really?
For Saaiman, yes.
Okay.
Because the thing with Josh Wang Kim, we know Josh Wang, and he's a killer in the gym. But the problem, here's why I think he's so good in the gym. It's really hard to see a guy who's 6 foot tall and a bantamweight that moves with that karate stance. So when you're in the gym and you're sparring for the first time, it's hard to get a read on that. That's your first time ever fighting that guy. Yeah. It's like this guy, Paris Stanford we train with. He beats the shit out of me. And it's because I don't see a guy who throws flicking front kicks and spinning and dropping me. I can wrestle and I can box like normal. When you get somebody who does and wrestles and box like normal, it's easy. But now I get this guy who's throwing stuff I've never seen in my life. He beats the shit out of me. He looks like a world beater. And so I think a lot of that is why we see Josh so good in there. And then in his fights, you get a guy who doesn't die.
And he's just swinging on you. He's like, all right, cool.
Well, and he's got a tough time. I mean, we even watched him. So that fight was not good for him. And the fight before that, he did win. No, he lost that fight by
with
DQ,
the elbow. Yeah.
With the elbow. But the tides were turning in that fight. And that kid is not very skilled at all. He just was there and wouldn't die like all the previous opponents of Joshua and Kim did. He's just been so much bigger, so much better, so much faster, and a lot of gift matchups up until that point. But the difference with Joshua and Kim and Mana is Mana throws his hands more. He's more hand reliant than he is kick reliant. Whereas Josh is a lot of kicks, a lot of range, a lot of jiu-jitsu to find the top, and that's how he operates. So Mana, in his last fight, actually, we said, impressed me way more than all of his other fights. Mm-hmm. Now, you say you don't see Mana knocking him out. On the regional scene, he had the death touch. He was one-punching guys.
But that was, if you watch him on the regional scene, he is Alex Hernandez on the regional scene, going out there, guns blazing, swinging like a maniac. And now that he's trying to temper himself, that crazy power is gone because now he's trying to be technical. And he doesn't have the technical skill set yet to be as technical as he thinks he is, but now he's pulled his own power away.
I disagree with both of those. And I only say that because I've done a lot of Mana film. I've been betting on Mana since before the UFC. And he was doing the Parkinson's thing, and he kept shaking his hands, and then he would one-touch somebody. It didn't look to me like he was running out, blitzing, and killing people. He was doing the Parkinson's, boom, touching them. Death touch. It was almost eerie, like weird how he was doing it. And now I think actually as he's gone along, like we watched him in the Guido Canetti fight where he's not throwing anything on this old man. And now we watch him to the Brandon Davis fight for where he's actually putting combos together. He's swinging over the top.
Well, he was, but then he still wasn't. There's so many moments that he just wasn't doing anything. And he's so, like, he'll exchange when it's comfortable to exchange, but not on his terms. He doesn't know what his terms are yet.
I agree with you there. Now, that would usually be enough for me to go, okay, Saaiman's going to get him. But sitting sitting ringside watching Saaiman fight Kozlov, who's an awful striker, Saaiman wouldn't even throw his hands either. I don't know if it was because of the fear of the takedown.
Yeah, I think it's the fear of the takedown.
Kozlov was dead tired, and Saaiman still wouldn't throw his hands. It wasn't until literally the guy is like shot, exhausted, finally he opens up. He wasn't putting combinations together. He wasn't doing anything. And one thing I did like to see from Mana was Brandon Davis was going for takedowns. And he's got a decent wrestler. He's fine. And Mana showed a good sprawl, good single leg defense, was back up and tagging him afterwards. So to me,
I think basing Mana's performances against Brandon Davis, who I do think is clean but can't put it together in a fight, and Guido Canetti, who honestly I think I'm surprised that he's even still in the UFC.
He's done better against Brandon Davis than he did against Guido Canetti.
Yeah.
But that shows his evolution.
Yes,
that shows how much better he's getting. To me, Saaiman has really short arms.
Very.
He is very tall kid, but he's got arms about this long. And Mana is very tall, and he's got arms this long. I think this fight is much closer to a pick'em than it is to Mana plus 250. So I've already taken a position on Mana plus 250.
Okay.
I like him. I think it's a much closer fight than it's showing.
All right. We've got Ian Machado Garry versus Kenan Song. Before we get to the breakdown, do you know why he changed his name to Machado?
Yeah, he got married. Took his wife's name. You should do the same.
I've already done it. No, I actually like it. He said that his wife had a son whose last name was, Machado, as her name, and then they're having a son, and he wanted the brothers to have a similar last name, so that way they feel like they're connected.
He's a good guy and the best one on the mic in the world.
I like that, right? I was like, oh man, that's nice. I like the reasoning behind that. Tell us about this fight. I know you love some Ian Garry. You're a Cage Warriors fanatic.
Yeah, we could just keep this one short. I really like short. Ian Garry. His pulls, his counters, his striking, everything is super educated. High guard, can wrestle, gets out of positions. Song not have great cardio, does hit hard, but I don't think he's fast enough to touch Ian Garry, and I don't think he's gonna. I think Ian Garry has him covered every place in the fight. That's why he's a minus 650. Tee-up fight for him to look good on another pay-per-view, and I think he does that pretty easily here.
Yeah. I agree with everything except for the high guard. I think he floats his left hand really low and his chin kind of high. And part of that is because he is so tall that he can't really bring his hands up high, keep his chin tucked, and still cover his body, and he's punching down on people and stuff. But I think he gets hit a lot with overhands. I think he gets hit more than he should with right hands. And I think he has gotten better at it, but we've seen him in the past, and he's even brought this up in the past. I think, who was his first fight? Was it Green or Weeks?
I think Weeks.
It was Jordan Wright, and then it was, Weeks and then Green, or Green and then... I think it was, yeah. I forget. Either way, in the Jordan Wright fight, and then whatever his second fight was, he will retreat with his chin up a little bit too high.
Wait, Jordan Wright.
Jordan Williams?
Jordan Williams.
Williams, yeah.
He got tagged.
Yes. And a lot of that is that by, just people swinging, and he'll retreat with his hands high. So I like Garry. I also don't think Garry's offensive takedowns are phenomenal. I don't. Not that.
But he's 6'3". So
yeah, I'm not saying that. Yeah, they're fine. His jiu-jitsu is good. His head movement is good. His lateral movement is good, and he's fast. He's actually really fast, really athletic. And watching, like, I guess, film or whatever in my head, I thought that he was a little chinny when he got hit with Jordan Williams. And I thought, oh, man, he got hurt. He got this. He got that. And he got tagged, but I thought his chin was actually fine in that. But the weird thing about Kenan Song, though, I actually think he's decent. I think he's pretty good. He's got a death touch right hand. If you think Mana has a death touch, dude, Song has a really good right hand.
Club those guys.
He has got a good right hand. Technically, I actually think his striking as a whole is pretty good. His grappling seems okay. He actually seems fine to me. I actually think he's actually a pretty good fighter. In the who was his last fight against Max Griffin?
Yeah,
he looked weird. So you look at his fights before that, he actually looks good. He got tired. He had some cardio issues. But then against the Griffin fight, he looked bad. And I don't know if something was off or weird, or maybe it was the pressure of Griffin that really broke him, because you see him stand on the outside with people looking really good. Mm-hmm. Maybe Griffin broke him with pressure. I don't know. I think Ian Garry should win this. I think he's too fast. I think he's going to move too much. I think Song, though, I think we're going to see actually a way better version of him than we saw the last time. And I think he's actually a lot better than whatever he showed last time.
Do we think he's better than Darian Weeks?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, 100%.
I think Darian Weeks is really good.
I think Darian Weeks is okay. He will not throw. He doesn't throw a lot. He likes to wrestle too much. He needs...
Is he better than Gabe Green?
I think so, too. I think he's better than both of those guys. On a striking level, I think Gabe Green is good because he's tough. And he's
got
cardio.
A hustle factor, good cardio.
And he has that good cardio. I think Jordan Williams is dynamic and explosive, but has holes for days. And if Jordan Williams fought Ian Garry 100 times, we have already seen that outcome. That would happen 100 times. He's going to tag Ian Garry a few times and hurt him. I say, like, get really good shots in.
Yeah.
And then he's going to lose because he just opens up. It's just too much. But I actually think Kenan Song is good. I mean, he lost to Morono, who's good. We know that. We know Morono's good. And then he lost to Griffin, who's just in his face swinging, and he looked bad. But if you look at his other fights, he actually looks really good.
Now he's got a long layoff coming back on a pay-per-view
Yep.
against the new child of the UFC.
Yeah.
It's not looking good for him, this outcome.
No, I think he loses, but I think he's actually going to have a really good showing. I think he's going to have a good showing.
Decision then?
I don't know because it's too long of a layoff, and he looked bad his last fight.
And who knows if that's the new norm?
Exactly. Is that the new norm or what? Where's he at? I couldn't really find where he's training. I couldn't find much about him. But I actually do think he's much better than what he showed in the last fight. And I think as a whole, I think his striking skill set, at least, is actually pretty good. I think
His
it's
arms
decent.
are just too short. Him and Saaiman were from the same
Exactly.
genetics.
And the thing, though, is Ian Garry is too long and he moves laterally too well. He's just a little too fast.
A guy like Jordan Williams has a way better shot against a guy like Ian Garry than any of the other guys.
Yep.
Because when you're being too technical, he's good to be technical. It's those guys that throw caution to the wind,
That's it.
close their eyes, and swing over the top. That have
If
the
Jordan
better
Williams
shot.
was a little bit more, I wouldn't even say technical, just
little
less sloppy.
Yeah.
Less sloppy.
Puts him out.
Yeah, I think that's a guy who could put it Ian
Close your
Garry
eye.
out.
Boom,
Yep,
boom.
just go. Don't get hit too much. Don't
he
be
got
too off
RoboCop
balance.
that way, same way.
Exactly. Yep. So, all right. Julian Marquez and Marc-Andre Barriault. This is actually one of a couple of fights here that that I think are really, really hard to call. In the sense, I just think they're so close in a lot of ways. And Julian Marquez and Mab, they're actually good at all the same stuff. Like their skill set is very similar. Where you've got, I think Marquez definitely has a power edge standing. Barriault has a little bit of the speed edge standing, but they're not. But they're both decent
close, yeah.
stand-up guys. Barriault will kick a little bit more. Marquez doesn't really kick much. They're both really good in the clinch. Their offensive wrestling is not phenomenal, and generally they do well when people offensively wrestle them and they defend and end up on top or scramble. We've seen that with Marquez quite a bit where people shoot and he jumps to a guillotine. And he actually has really good jiu-jitsu. Like Marquez's jiu-jitsu, especially for a big guy, he gets put on his back and he's going half guard, deep half guard, sweeping coming up. It's actually really good. And then Barriault is, again, decent on a defensive level. So now if you have two defensive guys who don't wrestle, that kind of negates the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu.
So we're back to striking.
And then it comes down to power. And I think Marquez is actually, I like his clinch work a little bit more. And the reason being, yes. And the reason being is he will punch out of the clinch, whereas Barriault tends to only try to elbow and knee. I think he's more active there. The other thing that I really like about Marquez is he throws 3, 4, 5, 6 punch combos in the pocket. Barriault does not fight in the pocket. He covers up and he moves away in a firefight. He kind of throws and backs up, throws and backs up. Now, does Marquez land all of those punches? I don't know. One, I think if he does land those punches, I think he could put Mab out or at least hurt him or something. But optically, if we're exchanging in a firefight, you and I are fighting, we're exchanging in a firefight, I cover up and back up, that looks better for you. And I think optically, Marquez on the volume side is going to win. I think they both have good cardio. You know, Marquez has always had really good cardio. I really like his cardio. We've seen him wrestle, go crazy, and is still pushing the pace. Now he's up in Denver at Elevation because Krause is no longer there. So I think that's only going to help his cardio. I think between the cardio, the power, and the volume, I lean Marquez here, but it's a very, very, very close fight to call. But I like Marquez, and I've kind of always feel like I've always shit on him a little bit. And I rewatching his film, I think it's a little unfair. And I think I've always liked Barriault's skill set, but I think I've always overestimated his cardio and his technical striking. Because I think his striking is good, it's clean, but he is a little bit loose. It's not as clean as I remembered it watching tape back.
I think we actually did say that in his last matchup when he fought Fluffy Hernandez. I think we both picked Fluffy as much as we wanted to pick Mab, and we've always kind of rode for Mab. I was like, this is the worst matchup for him because his cardio is overrated. And the announcers, this is why sometimes you can't listen to the announcers because they get on there and talk about how phenomenal his cardio is. It's not It's
not bad.
It's not, honestly, it's not great. No, it's not great. The other guys just fade at the same time that he does.
Yes. Yep. And he'll keep pushing the pace. Deeper. He's willing to dig. We see that with...
He fought Azitar, and Azitar came out and was like looking good, and Mab drowned him. But Mab wasn't spring chicken fresh.
Tired too. Yep.
He was tired too, but the other guy was a little more tired.
Yep. And Marquez looks clean kind of throughout. I mean, he'll maintain the cleanness with the cardio.
I hear Marquez barely training.
Really?
Barely. Because, one thing that we had heard with his relationship with Krause was that he was such a goofball and always in and out of the gym and barely training and barely showing up that Krause said, "You're out." And then they had to repair their relationship. And
is that why he went to Vegas originally?
Yeah.
And then he came back to Krause. And then after the Krause fallout, went to Factory X.
And so Krause was like, no. If you're going to be here, you need to be training. You need to be doing these things or I will not coach you.
Okay.
And then they said they butted heads a lot and then he finally smoothed out and then they were good friends. That's at least what I heard. Now what I hear, he's not training much. And he's a goofball and back to his old ways. So that could have a factor.
That could. Now,
hearsay.
That's it. And do you go off of hearsay or do you go on past performance?
Yeah, and you should
probably a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. You should go on past performance, but
if you're on the fence, that hearsay adds something.
Changes it. Yeah, there is a new camp for the first time. Or was he with the camp last time when he got KO'd?
No, this is a new camp. He's at Factory X now. But okay, so we've had a love-hate relationship with Factory X. On the show, I love Mike Montoya as a human. I actually really like him. I think he's a really solid guy.
I like Jazz.
I don't like the wrestling and just kind of the striking as much. And whatever. But he's got a lot of really good guys up there he's training with right now. He's training Brundage. We kind of shit on him, but I bet you he's a solid training partner. He's training with...
he thinks we hate him. We don't hate you, Brundage. We love you.
No, not at all.
You're my favorite. I actually... Never mind. I have a picture of you up on my wall.
But anyway, he's got some really good training partners up there right now. So I'm assuming he's getting good work.
Yeah. When he's in the gym,
When he's in the gym. So what do you think? Do you think I'm crazy picking Marquez or?
Yeah, I do. But I do agree with you. So we're looking power edge and chin edge. I would give to Marquez easily. Marquez.
You're right. Marquez has a good chin.
It does. He did get knocked out in his last fight and it was brutal. But he is eating some bombs.
And that's by Rodriguez, who is a sniper fast striker with a lot longer reach and a lot faster than Mab.
He ate some crazy bombs from Phil Haas. He's eaten bombs from a lot of different guys.
Like sandwiches.
Easy. And Mab flipped that switch easy.
Yep.
But, so I would give power edge and chin edge to Marquez. Fight IQ I'd give to Mab 10 times over. I actually don't know that Marquez cardio is as good as you think he is. He's just so fat and lazy that it looks like him tired looks the same as him not tired.
I think he keeps going. I don't think I see... I like it. It's not the best I've ever seen, but I think it's solid for
his size and
the scrambling that he does.
I think this is a showcase spot for Mab. I like me some Mab here.
Okay.
I like the jabs. I like the in and outs. I actually disagree with you on the clinch. One thing, I try to take some stuff from certain fighters, like my striking style. Who's that old bastard Russian that just he's like the karate guy. I can't remember his name. He just won in a big upset against a really young guy. I love his stand-up, his striking, and then the clinch work. I always go for Mab. He grabs back of the head, and he's
hockey punching,
little hockey punches. Yep. He's Canadian. That's what Canadians do. I don't know. I just think Mab's the man. I think he's going to find a way to get it done. It's crazy that every Mab fight, we have no rhyme or reason for why we are picking Mab.
I know.
We're just like, he's tough, and he's going to hang in there.
That's the thing with Mab is he's tough. I mean, he's not bad. He's decent everywhere.
Skills.
He's not amazing anywhere. He's decent everywhere, and he's just tough.
But there's no amazing edge from Mab.
Yeah.
He's not this clean, beautiful striker like Ian Garry. He's not world-class jiu-jitsu. He's just kind of there and all around, and so is Marquez. But I think Marquez makes more bad decisions by jumping for guillotines and laying on his back, and Mab is just a little cleaner, a little more solid. So if he doesn't get nuked, I think he wins.
Okay. Who do we have next? Viviane, Araujo, and Amanda Ribas. I didn't film this one. I didn't tape this one. I think this is the only other one I didn't tape. And I didn't just for nothing more than I wanted to make sure that I wanted quality over quantity. I was like, I could tape this, but there's so much other stuff that I wanted to get to that I didn't want to skimp on stuff. Ribas, kind of, I mean, decent striking. I think one of her best things is actually her triangle from the guard. I think Tracy Cortez was supposed to fight her. I kind of assumed that we would get the takedown quite a bit, and then we just had to avoid that triangle. She likes to grab the wrist, pull it out, shoot the leg through.
That's the Tino special.
Tino special. And I think that is where she's most dangerous. I don't know. What do you got?
I think this is Vivi by a mile.
Really?
She got way better. She's a very clean boxer. In a 3-round fight, she is a clean boxer. She's got very good wrestling. Is Amanda Ribas a little bit autistic?
She could be. Well, I mean, I think it's a little roid rage or something.
Ribas? You think roid?
Huh?
Jeez.
Question?
She just, the way she moves around is so
it's so
clunky.
awkward. Yeah, it's just a really awkward, clunky, weird thing.
I think for a lot of girls, that's really hard to get a beat on and to understand that movement because it's so unorthodox. But the thing about unorthodox, and we saw this in the Cody Garbrandt versus Dominic Cruz fight, a 1-2, meeting, crashing you in the pocket is what solves that riddle.
Yep.
And that's what Vivi does best. 1-2, clean boxing, clean takedowns. I think she has very good jiu-jitsu too.
Ribas, the other thing she does, geez, that freaking head and arm throw.
Yeah.
She head and arm throws everybody. And she actually does it when people crash into her. So it's actually something to think about. There's one thing that we trained for a lot with Tracy was, because Tracy crashes in a lot. She'll throw and then smash in. Yes. And so that's one of those things that we worked on a lot was that head and arm throw defense, rolling through with it and going. Now, all right, forget about who wins. How many times does Ribas hit that head and arm throw in this fight?
2, and they don't last very long.
Okay. She rolls through.
I think Vivi's just too strong.
But Ribas is actually, she looks like Tracy was actually, we were talking about this the other day. After they were supposed to fight and didn't, they end up getting a picture together. And Tracy goes, she was bigger than me. She's like, she was physically a lot bigger than I was. And I was like, huh, interesting.
So she was making a big cut, but then you go stand next to Vivi, and you see Vivi's big old, Popeye arms is different.
Yeah.
So I got Vivi here.
Okay. All right. We don't need to spend more time on that. Next up, we have Derek Brunson and Dricus du Plessis. And this fight comes down to Brunson's chin up in the air and being 38 or 9, whatever he is, versus du Plessis' cardio. And I know du Plessis is like, oh, I always breathe that way. Man, no, you don't. No, you don't. That dude is tired. And
he's good at fighting through his tired.
Well, no. All right. We're going to get to that. We always talk about what's good for, he has decent cardio, the way he fights, yada, yada. He is such a tempest going out there like a madman. He tires himself out, and then he just stops, and the other people want to break as well, and so they allow him to stop, and then he stops, and then he fights again until he's tired, and then he stops.
Smart.
And then, but they just let him because they just are like, whoa, this crazy guy has stopped. I want him to stop. That's it. And so I actually don't know. I'm curious to see if somebody pressures him when he wants his break, how that looks. And it's weird. I mean, dude, we have talked about his striking. Dude, at some point, I mean, I think I've bet against him every time since he was 0-0. I didn't even know who this dude was.
Not against Till, though. Did you go Till?
No. We went du Plessis.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. I think so. But even then, I was probably still please Till win. He's just such a weird, clunky looking striker.
Come on, he's a K1 kickboxing world champion.
Oh my gosh, he is weird. And then all he does is wrestle everybody.
Which is actually his best part of his game.
By far. And it's not even good wrestling. He just grabs people and falls, and they go with him. It doesn't freaking make sense to me. And then on the other side of that, you've got Brunson, who that dude can wrestle. Brunson can actually wrestle. Yeah. He can wrestle. He can do it for a long time. And he's got a crazy long go-go gadget arm reach. And if that chin was just 1 inch lower throughout every fight, he'd probably never have lost a fight. Brunson, just tip it from 3 degrees to 0. And you're good. You've won every fight since then. But I think his cardio is good. I don't actually think his chin is the worst. It's just he's fighting good guys who are landing and whatever. I lean Brunson here, And the thing with Brunson is he actually does this thing, if you watch him, where he kind of like level changes and then looks like the level change didn't work and that he's going to stand back up. But then he actually goes back into a level change on the other side and shoots. And it's actually really effective. We saw it against Ciryl Gane a lot. And he kept getting, he just kept shooting and shooting and shooting and finding the cage. Ended up mounting Cannonier. I don't think du Plessis is anywhere near as good as Cannonier. And I don't think he has a fight IQ of Cannonier or the conditioning, the cardio.
He is the biggest ape that we've ever seen, but he continues to win because he just out-apes everybody.
He just out-apes everybody. And Cannonier is that dude wasn't even breathing heavy in the middle of that Brunson fight. And it just goes, not from effort, he's just so calm. He's calm, his cardio is good. I actually, not only do I think Brunson wins this, I lean. I mean, again, it's chin versus youth and age and all that
lean
stuff.
With a betting angle, we're going to go du Plessis. We'll just cover all of our bases.
All of it. No, I think all of it, I slightly lean Brunson, but I wouldn't actually be surprised to see him TKO du Plessis off of a level change and an overhand type of thing. And we saw him drop Cannonier with that. And we've seen him do that a lot in the past. He actually hits hard. So as the fight progresses and du Plessis overreacts or something, I wouldn't be surprised to see him drop him and then either jump on him for the TKO. But it wouldn't shock me to see a TKO victory by Brunson over du Plessis. And actually just seeing him on Instagram against Cannonier, he looked a little fluffy and he gassed a little bit. I mean, it was a hard fight and Cannonier just didn't gas at all. But he looks very lean right now, and that leads me to believe that he's just in better shape, better cardio. I think he has one more in him. Maybe I'm crazy.
This is a really tough one for me for two reasons. One, never bet a white.
I know.
Two, never bet a man with a TikTok, which Derek Brunson has.
And he's got bleach blonde hair.
Whew, so where do I go?
Well, you just got to ask which one of them ever came out to Eminem, and you go against the other one. You go against them.
Yeah, this actually, weirdly, it's going to remind me of the Jamal Emmers fight a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Let me make this make sense. Jamal Emmers, very good wrestler against the Russian, whose main thing when everything else is not working is to wrestle. And then when that doesn't work, now we have to go back to whatever else, and that's not working either.
Yes.
Du Plessis' striking is not good. One thing I will say is he's down to throw down. Mm-hmm. He will be in your face throwing bombs. He keeps his chin up in the air just as much as Brunson. Every time he throws, he's leaving that thing up there.
One thing about du Plessis, sorry to interrupt, is that he blitzes. And so, yes, but he throws ones and twos as he's blitzing. So straight down the pipe, he'll throw 2, 3, 4 blitzing ones and twos. And if Brunson backs up with his chin up in the air, they're going to catch him. And then he will throw bombs. I think the bombs, if Brunson shells up, are actually going to play into him because he can level change and go under. Yeah. But that blitzing 1-2, that's what I worry about with Brunson, is if Plessis is blitzing straight in, piston style, and Brunson is backing up.
But his arms are so short, and the way he throws his punches, he's not throwing really long, beautiful punches.
Weird.
He's like robot arming these punches, running forward so he can start grappling. Now he's going to grapple a D1 wrestler, right? I have been with you, I think, for this whole time. And then, I see a lot of people talking. They're like, don't fall into the Brunson trap. He's old. He's this. I'm like, I don't think du Plessis is going to out-wrestle him. It was really easy for du Plessis. The wind blows and Darren Till was on his back. And even then, it was weirdly a way closer fight than it should have been because Till is awful. He is from the
both of their last fight is Till.
Yeah. Till is from
I guess Till was one before Brunson's last fight.
Till is from the old guard, and he's just not with today's times. He can't stop a takedown, and as long as you don't want to just stand there and trade with him, you're fine. And even if you do, you're probably fine also. Yeah. So I think du Plessis, man, he didn't have to work that hard, and he still made that fight pretty close.
Yeah.
A guy with a sprawl or a guy with a little bit of athleticism or a takedown, I think is going to give du Plessis a lot of issues. And I don't know if this fight is the big du Plessis rug pull or if we have to wait one more time. But at plus 200 something, I'm willing to take the chance on Brunson.
Is Brunson plus 200?
Oh, yeah.
That's insane to me.
Me
That's
too.
insane to me. I think people always underestimate Brunson. I remember ESPN did an interview with me and a bunch. They do what the coaches think.
I was in Vegas. Brunson's plus 185, but I was in Vegas for this one. So go ahead.
So the coaches picks that they did me and like 5 other kind of higher profile UFC coaches when he fought Holland, and I chose Brunson, and every other coach chose Holland, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna look really good or really dumb after this." But I kind of see this as now. Look, Holland cannot wrestle anywhere near as well as Du Plessis, and has bad fight IQ.
I don't know though. I don't know.
No, he just gets he gets thrown down pretty easily. But I wouldn't even compare Du Plessis to Holland, but I would just compare the disrespect people show Brunson. People really just don't want to bet Brunson. And there's certain people, look, I do that with certain people too, where I'm always betting against him and I'm always proven wrong. Like there's certain people. And Brunson is that person for a lot of people. So
he was for me for a long time. And now I'm seeing this matchup and I'm like, plus 185 on Brunson looks good to me to find out. All right.
Cody Garbrandt, Trevin Jones, who is kind of a late replacement, 4 weeks, because he was supposed to fight Julio Arce.
Yeah.
Who do you like in this fight?
I like 5-star here. I got to play on 5-star already. That chin is it's bizarrely such a liability. And moving down to 125 and then coming back up to 135 has never done anybody well, especially for as big as Cody Garbrandt is. I do think he's got all the skills in the world, crazy fast hands. He can wrestle. He can do a lot of things. Trev's a good grappler. He's got a good sprawl, good defense. He's very patient and low volume at times, which is a problem. But I don't think it takes a lot with Cody. And he KO'd Timur Valiev flat. And Timur is 10 times at least at this point
10
in his
times
career.
the chin.
Yeah. And even he's got an awful chin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's saying something. So I think a patient 5-star over the course of 3 rounds just has to touch the chin one time from a blitzing Garbrandt. And Garbrandt slowed down a lot, where Trev doesn't fight a style that makes him too tired. He had the one fight with Saeed Yukub that he got a little exhausted in, but I don't think Cody can keep a pace like Saeed Yukub can. So I already have a play on 5-star. I'm good with that. I'm happy with that for the mystery box that is Cody Garbrandt.
See, that's the thing, is a mystery box. And, I mean, every box is checked on the Garbrandt side except for the chin. Yeah. I mean, it's literally, there's, like, Trevin Jones cannot do anything better than Cody Garbrandt except not die.
Maybe jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I mean, if they were rolling, but in MMA, I don't think so, because now the thing with Garbrandt's wrestling, it is really good. That dude takes everybody down with ease. His control is non-existent, though. Yeah.
And it tires him out having to redo that.
Yes,
setup.
Exactly. But it's only a 3-round fight, so I think a 3-round fight, I think it's good. I don't even want to make a pick on this one, because you said it. Trevin Jones is so low volume, which actually really helps Garbrandt, because Garbrandt, we saw with the Rob Font fight, he pressures so much and he has that jab that he ends up like just getting hit with stuff, and he has to do stuff when he doesn't want to do it. But then he always has the death touch. Look what he did with the Sun Tzu, where, I mean, if his chin can hold up and if he cannot get starched, then, I mean, which it sounds silly, but look at the guys who are beating him. It's Kai Kara France when he went to 25. And he's lost 5 of his last 6. TJ twice, Pedro Munoz, Rob Font, Kai Kara France, and then he beat Rafael Assunção. I wouldn't touch this because I just don't trust his chin at all. I think Garbrandt is a lot better, and I think he can avoid getting just that big bomb from Trevin. I think he's just fast enough. I think he can move enough. And, like, I want to say, like, gosh, he can avoid that one big bomb, but I have zero faith in that.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
This, you could never make this a big play with all your money.
Nothing.
Because you could be winning until the last second of the fight.
That's it.
Reminds me of Marlon Moraes versus Saaiman.
That's it.
He's winning every second of that fight until he's not, and it's done.
Yep, and that could be this fight, or it could play out 2 more minutes, and then you've got...
He's good.
Yep, that's it. So I wouldn't touch this. I want to believe that Cody Garbrandt can not get death touched by Trevin. But, man, like, even if he can just roll some of the punches... And, you know, he's in Vegas now. But the other thing is he's jumping camp to camp to camp.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to find the solution to his problem. And I think the problem is genetically his chin is gone. And he's with Dewey Cooper now.
Yeah, too many gym wars.
And, again, I have zero faith whatsoever in Garbrandt's chin. I want to think that he can eke this one out and not die. But man, I zero faith whatsoever.
I'm going back to my old rule: never bet a white.
I like it.
Even
I
a
like it.
face tattoo. White.
I like it.
All right. Next up, we got Bo Nickal and Jamie Pickett.
I think people are stupid for thinking Bo Nickal at minus 1,800 is a thing. Yeah, I'm just kidding. 100%.
Oh, okay.
No, like this.
No, I mean, I'm not going to play it personally. So
no, you can't. But I don't think props have come out yet. Bo Nickal submission round 1. Is that a prop? Because that's something.
Yeah, it will be.
I mean, I know it is a prop. I don't know if the lines are out yet, like what that money is at. Because I could see Bo Nickal submission or Bo Nickal submission round 1. I don't think it gets to round 2. Bo Nickal is really good. He is freaking good. And Jamie Pickett is standing. He only evades. He's a staller. So he kind of runs, doesn't get too much damage, and then just defends on the cage by being tall and awkward and weird. This is not going to help you against Bo Nickal.
Who's a good open mat wrestler.
And he's not afraid to throw.
Yep.
And he's got power. And we saw it in his last fight. I don't remember if he dropped the guy or took him down, mounted him, bridged and rolled and threw a triangle in the transition. But not only that, he had the triangle and you see him like hook, or no, he grabs over the top and then goes underneath the leg and then brings heels to butt and rotates his ankles out like solidly. I mean, if you can find a good bet on this, like Bo Nickal round 1, Bo Nickal inside the distance, Bo Nickal submission, whatever the money, the props aren't out money wise yet. Yeah. If you can find something that isn't so juiced, run it.
Yeah. Yep. No need to talk about this one. The only prayer that Jamie Pickett has is that Bo is too guns blazing and too hyphy, and he
adrenalines himself out.
He adrenalines himself out. Can't lift his arms, and even then, I don't know that Bo's got the. that Jamie's got the volume or anything to even do it.
He's a 3-time D1 national champ from Pennsylvania.
He can gut it out.
He's been under the lights. 2, he can have all the adrenaline he wants, and he's still going to find a way to win against Jamie Pickett.
Yep. So we're good. Let's move on.
Mateusz Gamrot and Jalin Turner. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Okay.
And first of all, this is just. I don't know what was going on with Turner, but he was without opponent for this fight forever, but he was listed on the card, to be decided forever. Do you know what? Was he supposed to fight somebody, or were they just putting him on this card and nobody would say yes?
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Dan Hooker.
Oh, that's right. But Hooker pulled out a while ago, right? And they just couldn't find. Okay. All right.
I think this is this is such an interesting one to me. I think I like me some Jalin Turner. I think I really like me some Jalin Turner. Now, I could look like a fool because, yes, Jalin Turner gets taken down. People want to go back to the Frivola fight. But even in the Frivola fight, Jalin Turner is standing back up. He's got tricky jiu-jitsu. He's making Frivola work. He's throwing a lot of uppercuts, a lot of knees, a lot of stuff on guys that he knows is going to shoot on him. And back then, he was 23. From things that I hear and things that I know, and just even watching him now, he is calm. He's composed.
That's 4 years ago.
That's a long time ago. Yeah. From things that I hear now, he has gotten so much better. You can see it in his fight style. He's not just guns blazing. He is calm. He's controlled. He's calculated. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, maybe a black belt now. And I think he knows what the game plan is. People are going to want to take him down. They don't want to stand with this guy who's 6'3" with crazy reflexes and really good power. Man, Jalin Turner at plus 180 is very enticing to me. Can Gamrot take him down for 3 rounds and grind him out? Yes, he could. But the way that damage is scored versus control these days, and Gamrot's not doing a ton of damage from on top. Maybe Gamrot holds him down for 4 minutes. Jalin gets up and throws one flying knee and a couple elbows, and now he wins the round. Plus 180 for Jalin Turner. I'm in.
I love Mateusz Gamrot, man. And I think we both thought he was going to maul Benny Dariush.
Wow, yeah.
Benny Dariush, man.
What a man.
His takedown defense. And he actually did, who's the Eduardo Tellez, the octopus guard?
Yeah.
Gamrot would get his back, and he wouldn't just roll through. He'd roll through and stick the leg in the middle to force Gamrot to finish the roll in front so he couldn't follow him. That was gorgeous. Go back and watch that fight.
Name another podcast that's ever given an Eduardo Tellez shout out, because this is the only one.
Yeah, nobody else even knows who that is. But that octopus guard, I think it's an octopus sweep. Again, through
turtle.
Turtle. Yeah, it was the turtle. That's exactly what it was. The turtle through the middle. And yes, like through the legs. And then
it's funny a guy made a whole living on making a turtle guard like instructional.
Yes.
That's like the worst position to ever be in.
But he made it work for him. But man, if you watch Benny Dariush in that fight, watch, he's not just rolling through, he's not Grambying through, he is using jiu-jitsu to get out of that, which is he rolls right under, but he feeds a leg up the middle, almost on his Mateusz Gamrot's butt, and he kicks him forward so he can't stop the momentum and find his way out, which is just, and then, but even his defense against the cage, he was amazing. Gamrot's wrestling is some of my favorite in the game. And I've actually adopted something from Gamrot that I saw from the Kucheladze fight where Americans, we tend to grab single legs and we grab gable grip or some sort of we lock our hands. And then singles in forever have been non-existent in MMA because people just slide out. They limp leg out. It's not a thing. Gamrot, watching him, he shoots and he actually does what the Russians do. That's the whole the European tie. They grab the knee and then they grab the ankle and then they pull down and then they go backwards. And that creates either a backside double or it creates a whole nother single situation, which has now given life to the single again. And you see that a lot from the ATT guys. We saw that with Grant Dawson against our guy, Mark Madsen, where Madsen's an Olympian, silver medalist Greco, but he couldn't stop that time. We knew that was going to happen, but that fight we took that fight on like 10 days notice or 8 days notice. We didn't have enough time to train for it. But he does that beautifully. The other thing he does really well, and he did this against Benny, is he will shoot back out and then just come up on top. So you sprawl so heavy and he just backs out ahead of you and just climbs up on top. It is gorgeous. And his striking is actually a lot better than I think people give it credit for because he is such a good wrestler. Yes. Yeah. And he has really good cardio. And then on the other side, but for as much as I love Mateusz Gamrot, and if I could marry any man named Mateusz, it would be Mateusz Gamrot. If I had to, I'm marrying Gamrot. That's the only Mateusz I'm marrying. Mateusz Gamrot. That's how much I love that man. But he can't hold the takedown. Yeah. And he gets so many takedowns and people pop right back up. We saw it against, who is it? Diego
CDF
Ferreira. Yes. Just kicking right back up. He couldn't hold Benny Dariush down, but who can? All right, so take that.
Ferreira's also another high-level black belt.
But he cannot wrestle anywhere near what Benny Dariush can. Yeah. And he was just creating scrambles and kicking off, and he was right back up. Then Jalin Turner does the exact same thing. He's got 50 inches of reach and leg that he can kick off.
Well, I was going to say, you might not be talking about his legs. You're talking about 50 inches. He's black and he's 6'3".
And he's 6'3". But he's kicking off and he's wiggling and he's creating scrambles. And Mateusz is going to shoot. He's going to shoot low. And that's going to give Jalin his neck. And Jalin likes those high arm guillotines. He likes that whole sequence.
That's the ultimate equalizer to stop wrestling.
Yes.
Is attack the neck.
And
you have to bail.
And he's not going to jump to his back like a guillotine. He's going to hit a high arm and he's going to turn his body. So even if Gamrot doesn't get it, he's got to roll to his back to defend it, which is going to give Turner top position. I love Turner here, and I freaking love Mateusz Gamrot. So, look, Mateusz wins on grappling, but has he ever shot in and held anybody down?
Only one, and it was Jeremy Stevens.
Yeah, who a fetus could hold down at this point. And so
I think the law is going to hold him down soon.
Yeah. And so that's the guy that you're expecting him to just hold Jalin Turner down, who has a death touch,
does get up too.
And who does get up, who's very crafty, who's very good at jiu-jitsu. And honestly, he's way better at submissions in MMA than he is at regular jiu-jitsu. I think if you were to roll with him, like somebody his size like me, I'd probably do fine. You put me in a fight with him and you make me shoot from further away, that dude submitted me 20 times out of 20.
Well, and exactly that. Not to mention, he's got 80 inches of arms that you have to get through before you can get to his legs. And one of my favorite things that he does, and maybe it's because we do this too, is when people shoot in on him, he doesn't sprawl back traditionally. He drapes over the top and starts, he works those front headlocks. So he drapes over the top. And actually, that's why Frivola was doing so well with that outside single, is because he was draping
ahead
over
on the
top,
outside, yes,
taking him out.
Yep.
But even then, again, the way the scoring is, the criteria, honestly, just his striking, his reflexes, and how much better he's gotten God, it's hard not to take Turner at 180.
I like Turner, and Turner at plus money. Whew, sheesh.
All right.
All right, next up we have Jeff Neal and Shavkat Rakhmonov. And this is the other one that, I talked about Julian Marquez and then Marc-Andre Barriault. And I think people are discounting Jeff Neal a lot. I think Rakhmonov is, minus like 500, 600, something like that, which I think is crazy. Jeff Neal's punches are right down the middle. He's a southpaw. Jeff Neal is really, really good. And I think Rakhmonov's striking is very good. I think he's very good all around. He likes the body lock takedown. I don't think Rakhmonov's wrestling is amazing. And we saw it, I pointed out a couple of times since, when we saw him against Oliveira, he couldn't take Oliveira down, and then he jumped into the guillotine. And look, he knows how to win. He understands how to win. And he, weirdly enough, and man, actually watching Jeff Neal against Neil Magny, that was a Neil Magny that we always reference when Neil Magny was good.
Yep.
Used his jab, lateral movement, knew how to take, that was the Neil Magny that Jeff Neal lost to. And Magny was really good then. Now he's just he's gotten square. He's just gotten weird. Age has taken the Neil Magny from us that we loved as a fighter and to bet on and to pick. That Neil Magny doesn't exist anymore. And then he lost to Wonderboy Thompson, who's a really hard person to deal with, the lateral movement. Rakhmonov doesn't move that way. Jeff Neal has a really, really high guard, straight, beautiful punches, mixes stuff up well. He will offensively wrestle. I really like Jeff Neal. He'll go to the body, he comes upstairs. Man, he's solid. That said, Rakhmonov has not given us anything to show that he will find a way to win. He always finds a way to win, and he looks good doing it. And if he can't take you down, he's jumping to the neck. If he can't jump to the neck, he's going to strike with you. He hasn't really shown us weaknesses. Now his offensive wrestling isn't amazing, but it hasn't been a weakness of his. He's really good at jiu-jitsu, but he can't get the fight to the ground, or he finds a way to win. It kind of reminds me of Brian Ortega in that sense. Yeah. But I think he's technically a lot better than Brian Ortega, honestly, probably everywhere. And for that, I believe that I could absolutely see Neal getting the upset here. I don't think he will. I think Rakhmonov is going to find a way to win. I think it's actually going to go you kind of would assume that the fight doesn't go the distance or something like that. Would not surprise me to see this fight actually go the distance in a very close fight, because I think Neal is so much better than what people are giving him credit for with these odds. I've got to say Rakhmonov, just because he hasn't given us a reason to think that he won't win. When shit goes down, he finds a way. But I think this is a really, really, really close fight. And it's 51-49 Rakhmonov because of the X factor of just understanding how to win. Not even on a skill set thing. He has shown that he will find a way to win.
I'm really happy with everything that you said, and I agree with you. People act like Shavkat is the second coming of Christ, and he is very good.
Against certain opponents, he is. Right here, skill for skill.
Well, I'm talking about just in general. What does he have at the end of the day? He's got a very long, good jab, solid fundamentals boxing, which is awesome. He wrestles good enough to take down the guys that he's fighting, which are not D1 wrestlers, are not the best guys of all time.
And then he couldn't take down Oliveira.
And then he's jumping guillotines, which is usually a cardinal sin. He did get it, but he was having a tough time taking down a washed Oliveira. So I agree with you too on the Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's boxing is clean. He's a southpaw. His hands are very fast, and when he's wanting to, he puts them together. He throws in combinations. He's not afraid to be in the pocket. He can defensively wrestle.
He's smart too.
Smart guy. The only thing I don't really like about Jeff Neal is it seems like he's a little bit of a head case. And
really? Why so? I don't know this. So
because you hear Saif Saud screaming at him all the time. Get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. And
but he does that with everyone.
He does do that with everyone, but it seems like him and Fernie Garcia are the two that he's always riding like that. I don't want to be the one to go against the grain and say that, oh, Jeff Neal, this is the upset spot. But I agree with you. I don't think that the line should be this wide.
But we always talk about the parlay buster, and this could be the one where we're like, all right, that 600 who you think is the lock.
It just seems like, though, on this big of a pay-per-view with Jon Jones coming back and 2 title fights and all this kind of stuff that, like they want to showcase Shavkat because he is the future. Mm-hmm. And Jeff's always been kind of a middling guy or like a gatekeeper to the top of the division. So it seems like they want him to win. Obviously, they want him to win. But I don't know. God, I don't want to be the one to go against the grain and say Jeff Neal is going to win. I think Shavkat probably, again, finds a way to win just like you.
But it wouldn't shock you if you saw Jeff Neal get the upset, right?
And the line is so wide. Yeah. This is a man with a pulse and a good skill set.
Yeah.
He's not dying. He doesn't have a leg cut off.
He's not 40. There's nothing. He has good cardio. He has pretty good offensive and defensive wrestling. Not
good volume.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He has good fight IQ. He has really clean technical street boxing right down the middle.
Yep.
I mean, he checks all of the boxes. And then on the other side, you have Rachmanov, who checks all the same boxes too.
But I don't see this wow factor to him that he does better than anybody else in the world.
Yep. So to see the line that I mean, if again in Santino's line of lines over here, I mean, like I have Rachmanov as a minus 150. Something like that. And like, all right, he should look, he's 16-0. He's finished everybody. But he hasn't fought anywhere near the talent that Jeff Neal has. I mean, Jeff Neal just beat Ponzinibbio and Luque. I mean,
2 great wins.
Yes. And Rachmanov, again, he beat Neil Magny, but we just talked about this shelled up Neil Magny that is not, those two did not fight the same Neil Magny. All right, and so it's a little off. Honestly, I might have just talked myself into a Jeff Neal pick over here.
Are we going Jeff Neal?
No,
Should we be the only ones?
Man, gosh, I don't even want to be a contrarian just because I do think Rachmanov is that good, and just because he hasn't beaten those. Look, it's not like he's going to decisions with these guys and barely beating them.
But he's beating Carlston Harris, Michael Prazeres, Alex Oliveira, and Neil Magny.
True.
All old guys, washed up guys.
But he is putting them all away like he should. Like he is putting them away.
I don't know. The Oliveira one was a little alarming to me.
Yeah, but who knows? You get that was round 1. You get Oliveira in round 2. He starts to fade. You start doing stuff. There was round like look, he is beating these guys and he is putting them away. And they are, even though they're old. Look, he's putting Neil Magny away. He submitted Neil.
So did
Magny.
Gilbert Burns in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, but and they trained together. And these guys, yeah, but that's not. It's Gilbert Burns and it's not Jeff Neal. So that's a different skill set we're going. I'm not going to jump on the Jeff Neal train, but man, it would not shock me at all to see him get an upset here.
For me, I'm just going to avoid playing Shavkat. I'm going to use this fight as information.
Yes, I think this is information. And with the price too. I think if you're going to bet it, you've got to bet Jeff Neal or it's dog or pass on this one because the price tag, like what's betting Shavkat minus 600 going to do for you? I don't know if there's value in it. I don't know what the props are at yet. Rachmanov inside the distance or something, but Jeff Neal's a pretty tough guy to put away.
Shavkat decision. There you go. That's my play. Shavkat decision.
All right. We've got the co-main event coming up. We have Valentina Shevchenko against Alexa Grasso. 23-3 for the champ, 15-3 for the challenger. Am I up? You're up.
I'll go quickly. I weirdly don't like Valentina.
You've always hated Valentina.
Because I don't. She's got so many flaws for being such a good fighter.
Right?
She is like low volume but high volume at the same time, which is so bizarre.
No, I think you're right. I think she's low. She's low volume, but then she flurries.
She's a good exactly.
Yep.
She stands there. You throw at her, pop, 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 and then stands there. She's a counterpuncher, but like the truest form of a counterpuncher.
100%.
And we saw in the last fight, she gets taken down. She is good to hang out on her back. No attempts to get up, to stand up, to anything. But people are so afraid to engage her that they are afraid to go for takedowns and employ that game plan. All I got to say is, Alexa Grasso, she is a dog. She wants to fight. I don't think she's going to be afraid of Valentina, and maybe she does eat a few shots coming in. But I think the farther that Valentina gets in her career, the less interested she is in being in there. She's rich. She's famous. She's a million types of things, whereas Grasso still has that fire. She wants to hit this. Mexican chin, Mexican toughness. I wish she had better wrestling and she could employ that game plan, but man, that wind blows and Valentina falls over, she's down there for a round. I'm going to go with the upset pick in Alexa Grasso here.
I like Grasso, and I like her jab. Her boxing as a whole is really good. She actually does this thing. It's funny. I was talking with one of the guys at the gym earlier today. She does this weird in and out thing, but it's not like she moves her whole body. It's just her torso goes forward and backwards, almost like a buoy in the water. And I really like the way that she does it. For everybody, I'm not saying that I would suggest it, but the way that she does it and draws people in and out, you don't know if she's just moving away or what. She counters well when she does that. Great jab, good high guard with everything. Fundamental boxing is solid. Mixes her kicks in well. She looks like she's gotten a lot physically stronger since she's moved up in weight, and she also looks like she's improved her wrestling a little bit. And she has good jiu-jitsu. Her wrestling has always been a little bit weaker, but her jiu-jitsu is good for the most part. Valentina, you said it. So first of all, Valentina's a southpaw, so that alone is going to negate a lot of Alexa's jab. All right.
Yeah. Now it's got to be the right hand.
Yes.
Yep.
And Alexa also has a really tight boxing. Both of her hands are right on her chin. That is going to make it harder to enter with Valentina.
And body kicks are open.
And body kicks, especially with Valentina's left middle kick to the liver, and she likes to throw that a lot. Now, so that is going to pose a lot of problems for Alexa, just right off the stylistic matchup being southpaw. Now, the fact that Valentina has a really wide, long guard, what Valentina does is she kind of bounces around, and then she comes in really close and just flat-footed just stands there waiting for you to engage. And if you don't, she actually just bounces out. And then she comes in and waits because she wants to step back and pull the trigger and counter. And if you don't engage, she moves away again. She'll just keep doing this. Then if you don't do it you don't engage too many times in a row, she comes in with her right hook and then a left hand. She will regularly clinch and fires really good knees and elbows from that position. Her best weapon, which I think is so, it's just so underappreciated, is her body lock takedowns. She gets body lock takedowns because she goes to the clinch, boom, she grabs an elbow, and then she just, boom, flattens people right to their back. And her top jiu-jitsu is really good. Her ground and pound is mean. She's solid. Her issue, first of all, I watched that Talia Santos fight back twice for this. She lost that damn fight.
She lost the fight.
She lost the fight 3-2.
Crazy.
I mean, I cannot fathom that they gave her that fight, but holy shit, she lost that fight.
And be honest, Tyla before that fight never looked good. She was slow and barely beating people that sucked.
But the thing is that the secret is out. If you offensively wrestle Valentina and put her on her back, that is a path to victory.
Yep.
I don't think Alexa Grasso can do that. I don't think that she can put Valentina on her back again and again and win. And then stand-up wise, I think the distance is going to be really hard for her to engage. And I think the clinch work is going to be Valentina's. And being a southpaw versus an orthodox, I think that's going to negate that jab a little bit. And I think on a stylistic matchup, I think Valentina is going to come out the winner here. The blueprint is written. I don't think it is a Alexa Grasso who's going to be able to. Again, I say this all the time. You've got to have the skill set to implement the game plan. If I have the best offensive line on the planet, but I don't have a running back, I can't run the freaking ball. I still have to throw the ball.
Hey, the script says there's going to be 3 Mexican champions at the end of the year.
Oh, man. Well, then Grasso.
Moreno, Yair, Alexa Grasso.
Well, then you guys max bet Grasso. No, I don't think she's the one. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it'll happen soon. And you know the thing, though, is you said it looks like Valentina doesn't want to be in there anymore. I got to disagree. Round 4 and 5, or round 5, at least against Talia Santos, she went out guns blazing. She went out, blast doubled her, and she fought her ass off.
Because she knew she was about to lose all her validity as a champion.
And I think that's going to light a fire under her for this fight. And then I actually wouldn't be surprised if she walked away after something like this.
All right.
Main event time.
Okay. Just everyone gives me crap in the comments for whatever reason. So I'm just going to say I like Ciryl Gane here. Guy more active. Guy that's been in this. We kind of talked about this a little bit last week. My pick is going to be Ciryl Gane, but I think the people will want to hear what you have to say about this a little bit more in depth, if that's okay.
Yes. So man, it's funny watching this. I was thinking, we talked about it a little bit last week, and I was with you on the Ciryl Gane everything. I'm like, he's athletic, he's fast, he's this, he's that. Right off the bat, I'm going to just not put everyone a surprise. I'm switching that. I think it's Jon Jones. Let me explain why. And I was really on the Ciryl Gane. I'm like, nope, Ciryl Gane's going to win this. I think so. Jon has trained with me. He's come to the gym. And so I don't feel bad talking about this. It's not like we've trained a lot, trained a little bit, whatever. I mean, this is not a lot. So he's not overly fast. He doesn't really hit hard. Jon does not have power in his hands. He's been out for a long time. He's moving up a weight class. The weight, I don't think, looked great on him when he was in town. He was getting heavier, and I wasn't impressed with the weight. A little bit of a gut, didn't look overly strong. I was all of the things. And good strikers have always given him trouble. Tall people who can strike well and defend a takedown have given him trouble. So that is what I went with, and I'm like, all right, so this has got to be Ciryl Gane. Let me make sure I'm right. I'm watching tape, and I think I'm wrong, and here's why. Ciryl Gane, if it was Ngannou, done. I think Ngannou marches forward and swings, punching, and that height and power of Ngannou, I think, is going to give him a lot of trouble. But the thing with Ciryl Gane is he moves laterally. And if Ciryl Gane wanted to just press Jon Jones and just box, I think he could absolutely win this fight. I think he has really good, clean, fast hands. I think he hits hard. I think he does all the right stuff. He's a southpaw for the most part. He will switch a little bit, but for the most part, he's a southpaw. And he kind of runs. He's kind of lateral movement, and he forces people in. You watch the Tai Tuivasa fight. You watch the Ngannou fight. He is backing up while people are pressing him, trying to knock his head off. And again, he is a southpaw, and he kicks and kind of touches, peppers with his kicks, draws you in, and tries to throw to catch you on the way in. Jon Jones is not going to be chasing you, swinging punches at all. Jon Jones is going to be marching you down and grabbing your hands. Lead hand to lead hand, southpaw to orthodox. And he's going to be hitting that cut kick to the thigh, which is going to disrupt Ciryl Gane's lead leg and kicking game as a whole. But then from there, Gane, where I think Jon Jones excels is his clinch. I think Jon Jones has the best clinch we've ever seen in MMA, in whatever capacity you want to call it. Is it a wrestling clinch? Is it a Thai clinch? Is it a whatever, the MMA clinch? The way that he wraps people's arms up, the way that he throws, he mixes up all of his knees, his elbows, his trips. He ducks down, spinning elbows, and grabs his takedowns. Of all of the MMA clinch, like that's what I'm talking about. So nothing overly specific. Ciryl Gane in the clinch is non-existent. He does not have a clinch. When he does get clinched, he either holds on or he pushes away and actually ducks his head on the way out, which is an absolute, like, horrible negative no-no for all things Muay Thai. But he's not a Muay Thai guy. He's a Dutch-style guy where they don't clinch as much, and he's pushing away and he's doing that. And he does have the speed, but again, opposite stance. I think Jones is just going to be able to drop to that single almost whenever he wants and really mess with that takedown. He's going to put him up against the fence. He's going to beat him up. Ngannou got takedowns easily on Ciryl Gane. I think he's going to stay at range, be long and weird, and not a lot is going to happen. And then I think Jones is going to clinch. I think he's going to find elbows and knees in the clinch and hang on Gane and eventually get a takedown, which I believe he's gotten takedowns on every opponent he's ever fought. So, and I do think there's something to it where, I mean, look at the Thiago Santos fight. That, is it Santos Buchecha or whatever, Santos, right? Yeah, Moreta. That's that. Not Thiago Santos, because that's a different Santos. Anyway, who he fought. That dude swings bombs like a madman, and I don't think that Ciryl Gane is going to throw hands like that at him. You know what I mean? And so really, what's the path to victory for Ciryl Gane? Is it picking him apart for 5 rounds? Is it hoping that you catch Jon Jones on the way in, where we've never really seen Jon take a ton of damage? He's really good at evading, and he's so creative that stuff comes at such weird angles. He's long, his leverage is great, and he finds these trip takedowns and elbows and knees on these weird situations. I think that we're going to see him eventually get the fight to the ground. And I don't know if we've ever seen anybody in the history of the sport with better ground and pound than Jon Jones, better top control. So, and then all of that said, at this point, say it's 50-50. Say it's 50-50 after all of that, all the years away, this and that, all the negatives of Jon Jones. If you just took the last few fights, if you didn't know Jon Jones, but you watched the last few fights, and then you say, okay, this guy is fighting this guy, and you didn't tell him, okay, all right, Ciryl Gane. But then now we're talking about my personal GOAT of all time, who has always found a way to win and is the most creative fighter, maybe outside of creativity-wise, outside of Demetrius Johnson. And then, I have to give, that means something. That ability to win means something. And so I've got to say that, again, it's almost like the Shavkat thing we're talking about. All things equal, this dude just finds a way to win, and for that reason, I cannot bet against him. And then you say Jon Jones finds a way to win for all of these things, and he's found a way to win, and he's beaten everybody. I've got to say that Jon Jones finds a way to win against Ciryl Gane here. But that's my technical analysis. And then, of course, you have the GOAT status thing that he's a little sociopathic, and I think that helps when you have fighters.
There was something like when Conor was on top. It was like the champion effect. Like he was in so many people's head before they locked the cage door. There was something electric about that. Now, if he ran it back with Eddie Alvarez 100 times, Eddie probably wins 60 of those times, takes him down, mauls him, beats him up. But that was like one of the most incredible performances I've ever seen in my life. I think to this day, it's one of the best ever. So you're right. There is something with that championship air and aspect and just the big feel of it.
And you just have these people that there's just an air about them. Conor, when he was coming up, Jon Jones, Jose Aldo, when he was in his prime, that you just, they had something special. Honestly, you want to know who has that right now? I've talked about it a little bit, Sean O'Malley, where
he definitely does.
You have a guy that if you went in the gym with him, you'd probably beat him up 10 out of 10 times. But there's something about, and this is what people don't always get, is first of all, to be able to do it in front of the lights is a thing. But you only get one chance. You don't get redos. So you just have to, in these micro moments, you just have to react. And I believe that there are just certain people who have that reaction. They just have something special. And Jon Jones is that guy. It's like Mayweather. Yeah, he didn't look as good as he did in the beginning of his career because when you're the champion for so long, everybody has so much tape on how to beat you and what went well. So everybody does better and better and better. What is Jon Jones going to do now that we haven't? What has Jon Jones been cooking up that we don't even know about? Because everyone's going to be looking at tape from 4 years ago. Look at St. Pierre when he came back. He's going to wrestle. Oh, and then he drops Bisping and then chokes him out. Like, I mean, Bisping I don't think was the strongest champion. So I think it was the right way to come back. But, what are these guys working on? They don't have tape for the next 4 years. And they had tape on everybody up until then. So I like Jones, and I didn't think I was going to here.
All right. That's another show in the books.
That's it. We'll see you guys next time.
Go join the Discord, Patreon. Let's kick it. We had a rough patch and we have corrected that. And the last few weeks have been very, very good. And I'm excited for a lot of the things that we have coming up. So go join Discord, Patreon. Come join the community. You may hate us, fade us, whatever. But there's a lot of good people on there with a lot of good information. And it's a good group think. And sometimes you catch a good little flash in the pan and make a ton of money. So
yep, love it. We'll see you guys.